was released from captivity, which were usually at least 2 feet long. The snakes can grow to 8 feet long in adulthood, and the released snakes are tagged with pit tags, which have small chips allowing researchers to identify each animal by its unique code. The first wild-born eastern indigo snake was discovered in Alabama in 2020, according to the Alabama Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. Both snakes were actually found by accident, according to Godwin, who explained. It's difficult to just go out and do a search for them because they're small and they can hide very easily. During the winter, the project team monitors the sparrows of gopher tortoises, where the adult eastern indigo snakes breed into the colder months in hopes of identifying the animals. The reintroduction project has been an ongoing collaboration between Auburn University, the Alabama Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, the U.S. Forest Service, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and the other partners, Calvin said. So these things are making a comeback, man. Y'all better watch out here. Y'all better watch out here, man, because these snakes ain't playing. Snakes are like, you know what? We're not getting extinct yet. Not yet. I just earlier, yesterday, I mean, that I was on Reddit and I saw a big ass python swallow, uh, what is it called? A macaw? I think it was a macaw. It was a blue bird. It was a big blue bird, and pythons are ruthless, man. Them, I don't know why I watched that video, but like I was shivering. I was like, no python. Yeah, it's too. Why do snakes exist anyway? Like why? They don't taste good. Well, just to use them for what? Snake skins, boots, or some shit. Like no. We can do without that. I see no need for snakes, man. Store them all in one big old snake bin and just ship them off into space. I don't know, man. Not to sound hateful, but fuck snakes and fuck spiders too. Them assholes can go too, man. I don't give a shit about spiders. Jesus. This made no sense. Damn, snakes and spiders. Fucking up everybody's life or whatever. Whatever. Next up, we have Kanye West's girlfriend responds after being referred to as a Kim Kardashian lookalike. We have more on that next. Hello and good morning. You're listening to the KC Genesis in the AM. I'm your host, KC Genesis. So, originally I was supposed to be talking about Kim Kardashian's lookalike, Kanye West's girlfriend. But I've read the article and yeah, we're just not gonna do that anymore. Okay? We're not gonna do that anymore. We're just gonna skip right over it and just go to something else. Now, this is something worth talking about. Nearly 240 anti-LGBTQ bills filed in 2022 so far, with most targeting trans people. And NBC News has it that the annual number of anti-LGBTQ bills filed has skyrocketed over the past several years, from 41 bills in 2018 to 238 bills in less than 3 months of 2022. Yeah, it's something. State lawmakers have proposed a record 238 bills that will limit the rights of LGBTQ Americans this year, or more than 3 per day, with about half of them targeting transgender people specifically. Nearly 670 anti-LGBTQ bills have been filed since 2018, according to an NBC News analysis of data from the American Civil Liberties Union and LGBTQ advocacy group Freedom of All Americans, with nearly all of the country's 50 state legislators all having weighed at least one bill. During that time, the annual number of anti-LGBTQ bills filed has skyrocketed from 41 bills in 2018 to 238 bills in less than 3 months of 2022, and this year's historic tally quickly follows what some advocates had labeled the worst year in recent history for LGBTQ state legislative attacks. When 191 bills were proposed last year, the slate of legislation includes measures that will restrict LGBTQ issues in school curriculums, permit religious exemptions to discriminate against LGBTQ people, and limit trans people's ability to play sports, use bathrooms that correspond with their gender identity, and receive gender-affirming health care. Yeah, this is wild. Proponents of these bills say they're about protecting children, parental rights, religious freedom, or a combination of these. Opponents, however, contend they're discriminatory and are more about scoring political points to conservative voters than protecting constituents. It's important for people to pause and think about what is happening, especially in a healthcare context, because what we're seeing is that the state should have the authority to declare a population of people so undesirable that their medical care that they need to survive becomes a crime. Chase Strangio, the deputy director for transgender justice at the ACLU LGBT and HIV project, said, "What more terrifying intrusion of the state could there be? As the number of anti-LGBTQ bills record highs, research shows that so too has support for LGBTQ rights and policies prohibiting discrimination against lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer people. Nearly 8 in 10 Americans, or 79%, support laws that protect LGBTQ people from discrimination in jobs, housing, and public accommodations, according to a public religion research institute survey released Thursday. That same survey also found that nearly 70% of Americans support same-sex marriage, up from 54% in 2014. Wow. LGBTQ advocates and political experts say the uptick in state bills is less about public sentiment and more about lobbying on behalf of conservative and religious groups. Activists contend that the groups have pushed for the legislation in response to a string of progressive wins, including 2 landmark Supreme Court rulings, one that legalized same-sex marriage in 2015 and another that won LGBTQ people nationwide protection from workplace discrimination in 2020 in the election of President Joe Biden in 2020. They also reason that the bills are part of a wider political strategy to use transgender people as a wedge issue to motivate right-wing voters. Conservative politicians, conservative religious leaders, religious organizations, and sometimes conservative scholars often present themselves as defenders of traditional values and traditional institutions in society, said Gabrielle McNee, an assistant professor of political science at Loyola Marymount at University in Los Angeles. LGBTQ rights have become a natural target because they go against one of the most traditional institutions of society, and that is the family. NBC News analysis of the ACLU and Freedom of All Americans data found that among anti-LGBTQ bills, measures targeting trans Americans have significantly increased in recent years. For example, 22 of 2019's 60 anti-LGBTQ proposed bills, or 37% were anti-trans bills, compared with 153 or 80% of 2021's 191 anti-LGBTQ bills. This year, about 65% of the anti-LGBTQ bills filed as March 15 through 154 were anti-trans bills. The authors of these bills in the dark money groups pushing for them do not want it to be possible to be a trans kid in this country, said Jillian Brandstetter, a longtime trans advocate and a media manager for women's advocacy group, the National Women's Law Center. They're responding to trans kids as if they were responding to a contagion. Anti-trans legislation specifically measures that would block trans students from competing on school sports teams that align with their gender identity, have been among the most successful of the anti-LGBTQ bills filed in recent years. Since the start of 2021, 11 states have written trans sports bans into law. According to tallies from ACLU and the Human Rights Campaign and LGBTQ advocacy group, advocates also point to the mental health risk plaguing trans youth and how anti-trans policies can exacerbate them. Forgive me, I don't know what this ES word is. Exacerbate them. A survey last year by the Trevor Project and LGBTQ youth, the Suicide Prevention and Crisis Interventions Organization, found that 42% of the newly 35,000 LGBTQ youth who were surveyed, and over half of trans non-binary youths seriously considered suicide within the prior year. Separately, 2/3 of LGBTQ youths said debates about anti-trans legislation have impacted their mental health negatively, according to a small survey the Trevor Project conducted in the fall. And there's more on that topic, but I'm just gonna say that these people shouldn't be affecting you, you know? I guess everyone is different, but I have no problem with trans people. Do as you please. Whatever they're doing is not affecting me. And yeah, it's just, if we're not able to still accept people who share different views or different points, or just different people, then feels like we have a lot of fucking work to do. Yeah, we're still not over racism. I hate to bring race into this, but it feels, there are white people who are still not okay with black people after all these years, and they keep fucking passing it on to their fucking grandkids, and it's just become a fucking cycle. And we had the LGBTQ community, they're still trying to get bills passed, or they're like, there's bills who are all for anti-them, or it's like trans people, or gays, lesbians, anyone of the community. And it's like, well,